So a cliche is everyone loves saying this in Discord, but I really don't think anyone internalizes it. Is any progress is progress, and whether you win or lose is such a awful way of thinking about the game. Is I think I'll talk about it a little bit more, but you can always have a bad loss. You can always have a good loss, but you can also have a bad win. Just because you win doesn't mean you played well, right? Like you sometimes just get away with things because of cheater characters and stuff like that. And I can see a lot of people are laughing right now because it's like they're feeling called out. I feel like there's a common theme throughout this presentation is people are going to feel called out, and I'm here for it. Okay, so I would say like other ways to measure progress is, let's just say you always lose to somebody. If you feel like you're better understanding how they beat you this time, or if it was a closer game, that doesn't mean you'd be like, oh, I took a stock off somebody and I'm going to brag about it on Discord. See, I don't really like that. I think it's just a matter of kind of endearing yourself and realizing that you're making progress. And also for the people you beat, like, are you beating them a lot more convincingly, or is it still close, or are you kind of like getting handed wins or something? Now, this is one of my favorite things to tell people your guys' age who are, kind of new to college. Hi, Matt. Who are kind of new to college and, getting into the community for the first time. They're kind of having their honeymoon phase with it. Is going to a tournament in Boston or anywhere takes 5 to 6 hours per day-ish, probably less, like if it's somewhere really close. Nest probably doesn't take that long. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm sure you've all heard about watching your replays, practicing combos, going to training mode, and then also like, oh, I have to work on like homework during a tournament, and then it kind of, you have to switch between different modes. And I'll say like that 5 to 6 hours, I'm willing to bet that all three of these, watching VOD, practicing combos, probably takes a fraction of the time there. And people don't want to hear this, is they want to think like, oh, I don't got time to VOD review. I don't got time to practice combos. I don't got time to sit down and like figure out what to do and take notes. I think the reality is people just want to do what's fun. And I'll say like going to tournaments is fun. And you also have the opportunity to get like a good win, and then people glaze you in Discord. I mean, I've been there. Like everyone loves doing that. But a lot of people don't like doing those three things. They don't like sitting down and watching a VOD. And also they like aggregating VODs. They like, I'm so sorry, Justin. They like posting them on their YouTube and stuff like that, but they don't actually go back and watch the VODs. And it's like, what's the point of that, right? Like, we're not trying to be performative over here. I don't mean to, send out a buzzword like that, but no pointing fingers, Derek. It's not nice. So now, the real thinking point I want to get from the balance is, what are you willing to do that other players aren't willing to do? Because if you're doing what everyone else is doing, and most people don't get good at the game, so then you're just going to stay where you are. So don't blame anybody. Don't blame the setups consistently or the controllers or whatever. Blame yourself. People don't like taking accountability. And I want to hammer that home is you can manage your time and use your time a lot better if you're willing to do some of the more tedious things. All right. So I hope you like this picture. It's the same place I was standing. See, I told you, same shirt. Same shirt from Nintendo New York store. All right, let's talk about a little bit of how to actually get better at the game. So we'll start with grinding, right? Everyone loves that word. So practice methodology. So I want you guys to go to as many tournaments as possible, save as many VODs as possible, try to go into 3 to 5 friendly sessions a week, and if you need to go on Elite Smash, Wi-Fi is great. I think just getting in the amount of reps is really going to help and really get you, a lot of basis for how you're going to get better at the game. I also want you guys to get specific. So every time you lose to like a random character, make sure to say like, what stage do I go versus this character? Consider picking up a new character to beat the matchup, because matchups are really hard sometimes. And also make sure to practice niche combos. Like make sure you know exactly what combo to do at 35-40%, because I think it'll kind of branch out into it can increase your combo game a lot better. So if you haven't figured it out by now, I am absolutely trolling you guys. This is complete and utter garbage advice. Do not overload yourself on friendlies. Do not overload yourself on tournaments. Do not, focus on too specific things, because you're just taking away from focusing on the bigger picture, which I'll get into right now. So if you actually want to get better at the game, and this is how I coach people and how I've gotten better myself over the years, is you want to make it as tangible as possible. So you want to be able to notice the progress you're making. And so let's talk about Smash a little bit. I'm going to be a little bit of a nerd now in this slide. So don't worry so much about like all the little sub bullets I have here, like covering ledge, reclaim of center, edge guarding, all that stuff. It's just a matter of, I want you guys to understand like what the state of the game looks like when you're ledge trapping someone, when you're in neutral, when you're disadvantaged, when you're at advantage. If anyone has a question on like what those states look like, please let me know. But the main thing I'm trying to say is these states have their own subtopics. Like, I can use myself as an example here. Is when I started getting good at the game, I was like, okay, I know my worst thing is disadvantage, right? Because I play Luigi, I have like a kind of a broken option. I have the cyclone to get me out of a lot of situations. But then when I played someone good, they would bait it out and completely destroy me for it, right? So what I did was like, okay, escaping the corner. Let me focus on that for a week. So what are the fundamentals that go into getting out of the corner? So then I find resources, which also I didn't include them in the slides, but if you want to actually get resources on every single topic here, just please let me know. I'll send you a couple videos. But what actually goes into escaping the corner? Because a lot of people, if I single anybody out right now and ask them, how do I escape the corner in terms of actual fundamentals? I don't think any of you are gonna like have any good topics, right? And I didn't either. Like for the longest time, it's really hard to kind of quantify like, okay, how do I do this, or what options do I use? Because a lot of people are just like, oh, let's just do something and hope it works. I think having more reason behind everything you do, little by little by little, month after month, is really going to help you get better at the game. So I'd say just pick one topic, focus on it 1 week, see if you can see progress, and only focus on that. When you play games, don't focus on winning, don't focus on losing or whatever. Focus on like, okay, I want to learn how to land better. So every time I'm landing, that's where my brain's going to, because you can't focus on all these things at once. If you try to get better at ledge, spacing, bait and punish, landing all at once, nothing's going to stick. It's like throwing a bunch of, it's just like throwing a ball against the wall and hoping it sticks there. It's not going to, okay? This is also going to lead into the next slide, which means if you are better at seeing the progress you're making, you're gonna fall less prey to having those mental holes that everyone falls into. I'm sure, now again, remember, common theme, a lot of people in this room are gonna feel called out, but I would say, I don't think Northeastern, oh shit, I forgot I was streaming, this is gonna get controversial, but Northeastern does not give ragers enough consequences. And there are people in this room who have raged and caused scenes and, make people feel uncomfortable. And I think that is not okay. And I think as someone who also gets mad at the game, but doesn't have, hi Eric, who doesn't have outbursts, I know that it's not enough to just tell someone, okay, don't rage. I get how emotions work. So if you have an approach to the game that doesn't put you in that position, that's the way to stop, okay? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about mentality. All right. So mentality is your life partner. Your mental is going to be with you forever, through every single friendship, every single relationship, every single family, whatever, okay? Until the day you die, your mental state is going to be with you. So it's going to be the key to your consistency. Now, I can talk about myself a little bit now. What got me from, being a pretty good player, like a good college level player, to being like top 10 in Massachusetts was just focusing on my mentality, because it really helped me stay consistent and also play my best every single day, which I think is extremely, extremely important. And a lot of people don't like to give this stock, because sometimes they'll have a bunch of assignments and they haven't practiced the game and they go in with no warm-up and they're like, oh, I suck, I'm never going to get good at this game, when in reality they were probably just having an off day. Think of it like eating like hefes, eating 3 bowls of hefes, and then weighing yourself the next day and being like, oh, I gained 15 pounds, I'm such a fat ass, right? Like, that's not how it works. I would say that's like a similar thing to like going into a tournament without food, without rest, and then thinking, oh, I went 0-2, I'm awful. So don't fall into that hole. I'd say now, let me talk a little bit about the slide now. I think mentality is good to kind of let go of the rest of your life temporarily so that you can only focus on the game. Like I said, it also helps you play your best, and then also what I was saying about raging earlier is it lets you not rage, basically, because you're feeling a lot more calm, you're feeling a lot more better, and then you don't have those outbursts. That I know, like, anyone who's also watching stream too is like, if you've had an outburst, I'm not trying to make fun of you here. I totally understand what goes into it, but you need to address like the underlying cause. You can't just hope that like you're not going to have an outburst next time if you don't change anything, right? In the same way that if you lose to the same player every single day and you don't do anything different next time, they're going to keep beating you. You're not just going to get lucky one day. Roy, what is so funny? Who beats you every single time? Let me know. Yeah. All right. Hi, Trey. Okay. Now let's talk about practicing mentality. Now this is one of the main reasons I decided to do this presentation was the effect meditation had on me before a tournament. So that's like a tangible reason I went from like a good college level player to, you know, a top 10 in mass player, is I started meditating before tournaments. I don't really come to Nest this semester, so I'm sorry about that, but if you guys go to BSB or something, you usually see me in the corner meditating for a tournament. You'll probably see me on Sunday doing the same thing. The reason I do this is to do everything I just talked about, which was to kind of let go of the rest of my life, get my stress levels down, and then feel a lot more upbeat and relaxed. And the other way to practice mentality is VOD reviewing. So a great example I like to tell people is, let's just say Omar was in chat earlier saying don't roll in every single time. If you watch a VOD of yourself playing and think, okay, I'm going to try to isolate every single time I rolled from ledge and then not care about the rest of the VOD, like I'm not going to look at anything else, then you'll kind of train your brain to practice, like, okay, this is when I roll, this is when I roll, like what is my opponent doing to make me roll? And then when you actually go into the game and play, you'll notice like, oh, automatically, I'm used to doing this when I was watching the VOD, now I'm doing it in the game and I'll stop rolling as much. Overall mental health matters a lot. If you, I'd say it's all a hive mind. I've been on my Stranger Things grind recently, and there's like the villain's a hive mind in that show. And basically what I'm trying to say is, if the rest of your life is awful, you're probably going to have an awful time at Smash too. There are a lot of people who get escape from Smash, and I love that. But if you don't focus on improving the rest of your life, Smash is not going to improve to the heights you want it to. So please take your mental health seriously. And I know it's college, and you know, as an electrical engineering major, you know, mental health is hard to come by sometimes. But just do what you can, okay? And a disciplined life, yeah, this is like me a little bit regurgitating here, but sleep, rest, eating nutritious food, fitness, all of that matters as much as you think it doesn't in the moment. And it's really hard to feel it in the moment, but I promise it matters. Almost everybody you see that goes 0-2 one day and then gets like first place next is usually because when they went 0-2, they had something going on. Yes, Jalen? So the question was like, in terms of mindfulness, how do you stop yourself from autopiloting during a set, right? So that example I used about the rolling from ledge, let me use a better example maybe. Okay, so I was saying how I was trying to get better at escaping the corner, right? I felt like that was my biggest weakness as a player, is I'm not really like paying attention when I'm at ledge and I'm trying to get back. So what I did was, sorry, Justin's in chat being funny. But I was like, okay, one of the matchups, ironically, is Peach, that I was really bad at escaping the corner. If you guys don't know, since he's not here and he's not here to kill me, I will say, if you guys know Dylan Queen, I kind of have a really good set record on that guy. And a lot of it is because I also grind against this character to beat the other top Peach players. Something Peach is good at is keeping you in the corner. So what I did was I watched VODs of myself playing, and it was like, okay, every time I'm in the corner and trying to get out, I'm going to pause the video, take a breath, and look at what I did and why I did it, or what I should have done. So then I'm like, okay, pause, look, okay, this is what I did. What could I have done better? Okay, and then I keep watching. Next time I'm at ledge, okay, same thing. Pause it, look at it, do it again. Then what I did was I pulled up a top level VOD of Luigi versus Daisy, right? And I'm like, okay, this is a similar situation to the one I just watched. What did the top Luigi player do? What did the top Zero Suit player do? And then I kind of tried to, you know, get familiarity to being like, I just want to train my brain to think, okay, in this scenario, I want to be cognizant. That's how autopiloting starts. Because when you actually play the set, your autopilot is going to be what it is. Like, you're not going to fix your autopilot in the middle of a tournament. I have a slide about this in a bit. But you have to kind of do the homework outside. And this is like a good question, Jalen, because it's going to go into our next slide where I'm going to talk about tournaments being tests, basically. So I know it's not a full answer, but it'll become a full answer. I just want to have a question before I move on. Cool. Okay, so tournaments are your blessings. They are your proving grounds, and they are a great opportunity. And I will talk about the emotional part of it in a second. But just remember, and I know I keep mentioning the rest and the being fed and the warming up, but it's very, very, very important. I really don't want you guys to sleep on this because it'll also affect your classes, which is what you're here for at the end of the day. I really want you to take it seriously. Now, meditation as well. I really encourage you guys to even just try meditation one time. It's not going to be amazing results after the first time. Meditation is a skill just like anything else. You're going to get better at it.